are tired of women.
That's no good. This Stealing your parents' credit card.
Clap for that, you stupid bastard.
To front basket.
To start the show.
Were you silent or were you silenced?
And the face she gives when she does it. The most iconic, we just got the most iconic Oprah moments to ever exist from this interview.
Because we kind of realized with, I think I still have it in here. Let's see.
Oh, yes, right there, right there.
The vultures are waiting to pick your bones.
And you made the comment that you definitely think that Oprah practices these things in the mirror. Like
of course.
Her buzzwords, like she already has them figured out before she even does the interview.
Of course. So the interview in question is the Meghan Markle and Prince Harry, yeah. Which is an ironic name considering he's definitely balding. Right?
Yeah, well, they both of them. Yeah, well,
Meghan Markle is definitely balding.
going bald. Yeah, all this horrible stress of her being
the most depressed woman in the world.
Apparently, I mean, it really, like so much of it was so fucking funny to me.
Oh
like that's like really, I mean, it's funny because like all these culture war things are just becoming absolutely utterly hilarious to me. And this one was so funny because it's like, okay, so Joe Biden passes this like meager, ridiculous stimulus bill that is like not nearly enough to handle anything. We'll get into that a little bit later. But literally the son of a queen and some actress who I believe that she's black. I mean, we got to go by it. The one drop rule was like definitely in effect on this one.
And that is a very racist, that has a very racist history in the US because there was, what was that one case? It wasn't Plessy versus Ferguson, was it? Where they're like, if you even have 1/16 of black in you, you're black and you can't be white. Do you remember that historic case?
Yeah, I do. And I think
of course it got overturned, but like, or whatever. It was like unconstitutional.
Yeah.
But that her 1/32nd of I don't know, blackness. I don't know how black she is.
I mean, I don't either. I don't really care. I mean, really what it comes down to is she's as black presenting as we are gay presenting. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's kind of like a similar thing. Like, you know, that's like why I've said many times on here, I never like compare, you know, gay issues to black issues because I don't wear it every day around, you know, I can kind of like blend in if I want to. And she's kind of a similar thing, but again, like how the thing was so couched in this reality that she's oppressed somehow. And it's like, bitch, you will be rich. You're staying in Tyler Perry's house while you're talking to Oprah. I mean, like you are the most well-connected person of all time, but I have a hot take that made me kind of maybe respect her if this hot take is true.
Oh.
So there are two really credible conspiracy theories about Prince Harry, right?
Yeah.
The first one is that Charles, like that's his dad, right?
I guess so.
Is not his actual father. So that's number one. So like Diana cheated on on him to have Harry. And then the other conspiracy theory is that she was murdered, but like that's almost like pretty much accepted by like if you really look into it. I mean, like the excuse was that they were fleeing the paparazzi and the limo driver was drunk. And it's like, okay. And then she dies in a tunnel and we don't know like anything about what happened. And so, and so really what it was is I think that the royal family knew that she was going to leave the family and then go off with this, like, I think he's Saudi Arabian, like businessman or whatever. And just kind of fuck off to Dubai and be left alone. And so they killed her. And I think that Harry knows it. And so I think this is, he got because he's kind of when you watch them together, he's a total beta man. And so he got this sort of...
He's a soy boy beta cuck.
Soy boy beta cuck.
Libtard.
Yeah. And so he got this psychotic, histrionic woman to basically bully for him to get him away from this psychotic family that had his mom killed, you know?
Yeah.
And so...
And look, like, we just watched a documentary about the assassination of Kim Jong-nam.
Yeah, that was wild.
Really fucking crazy.
It's called Assassins. It's on Amazon.
It's really good. But like I'm thinking like why isn't there the same scrutiny about Diana's death and the things that the royal family are capable of,
or us.
Is it because they're white?
Yeah, right. I mean, and again, I mean, it was interesting because the way they ended that Assassins movie was trying to frame it as like, they showed Donald Trump meeting with Kim Jong-un and trying to make it out like, oh, now we have now made this totalitarian dictator someone who's even though he killed his brother in plain sight, blah 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 blah. We validated his behavior, and it's like. How many extrajudicial assassinations have we gone through with?
Right.
We're not like Russia or North Korea where we like want it to be known that we do this. Like obviously if they're using a nerve agent, and which is what Russia's MO is as well, they most certainly will. They want the public to be afraid of this reality. You know what I mean?
Of course.
But it's the same here. I mean, if you think about it, like if you were getting into like local politics, like you were a senator or a congressman or whatever, and you were just like, kind of like how Steve Cox wants to be, they'll probably think of ways to kill you. You know what I mean? Like if you get in, you just go like, oh, this national debt is fake. This is all fiat currency, blah, 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 blah. Like they don't want to give out money because of their corporate donors. Like if you, I think, went out and said that kind of shit, like on the House floor, they would start to like be like, all right, this guy's gonna fucking die. We'll do a car accident. We can cut his brake lines. But we'll give him. We'll put a bunch of booze in his lungs and make it seem like he was drunk driving. That's kind of the CIA's MO. But so like you can easily be disappeared by these people, the same way that Kim Jong-un was, expedited, or rather had an exodus from this earth.
The U.S. could never have a royal family. There's no possible way that the U.S. would allow, that the citizens of the United States would allow any more of their taxpayer money to be spent on something as excessive as a castle.
Right.
A fucking castle with guards.
Right.
And spears. Who the fuck? We're happy sending our money to Iran to kill innocent people in hijabs.
Over a million, yeah.
Over millions of dollars, 20 years. We're happy to do
people,
that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that too. Sorry. Totally forgot about the lives we lost. I'm just thinking about the money.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's sweet, cold hard cash.
Americans are perfectly happy doing that, but we would never fucking pay for a fucking a kingdom. Other than like Disney, we would. That's the only kingdom.
We get the Magic Kingdom.
We get the Magic Kingdom. That's the only kingdom in the United States to exist.
Yes. Yeah.
We would never pay for the queen and her 90-year-old fucking decrepit diapers.
Right.
To spend our money.
Right. Yeah.
Useless.
Yeah, and I do find like this sort of American fascination with the monarchy to be really ironic and kind of bizarre. Number one, because I mean, we literally fought a revolution to get rid of them. But the other part of it too is it's like, I do kind of get it in the sense of, and this is like a take from Red Scare, but Anna was saying that it's kind of similar to our fascination with the Kardashians, because like they kind of are like royalty here in a way, like in terms of they're not like elected officials, but they have so much power and influence that they can pretty much dictate culture however they want. Yeah. And I get that in England in the sense that like these people are, like celebrities, and like, but they're sort of like symbolic in terms of governance or any of these kinds of things. But the fascination with it here is mind boggling to me. And I think people are bored. That's why I think like 100 million people tuned into that fucking broadcast with Oprah. But yeah, so but if you really think about it, you think about these two people, and the whole crux of the interview was that someone made a snide comment that they confirmed wasn't Queen Elizabeth or like really anybody in the family. It was just somebody who was present. Made just a dumb comment about wondering what the kid's skin color would be, which is sort of like something my 90-year-old relatively progressive grandparents would say, because it's like, kind of the Japs and the stupid shit that they say culturally outdated.
They say things like Oriental,
yes. Which is interesting because it's like, okay, so what is really what is the indictment here? Like over the pressure you felt about that, you felt like fleeing and having a mass exodus from the royal family, and, or is it that Harry finally is coming to grips with the fact that his mother was murdered by this family, and the second they want to give an interview, it's with a fucking billionaire, Oprah, who's one of the most watched people on the planet. So basically, these two can set up a media empire. So I think that's what they're going to do now, and it's great for her because she was only on the show Suits or whatever. This Meghan Markle.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
And I think that had she not married a literal prince, she would just sort of languish in, obscurity as an actress. But I gotta say, it's a fucking girl boss move. Like this is the girl boss move. I mean, this is the girl boss move of all girl boss moves. And she's dismantling this kingdom, this royal family, and becoming more powerful than they are. Yes.
From a distance. She's not even doing it from the inside. She's on the outside.
Yes. Yeah.
It's wild.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I pray that this fucking dismantles and destroys this outdated concept of a royal family. Mm-hmm. Good Lord, grow up.
I know.
What century is this?
I lived with British people for a while, so I do understand, like it represents something to them, especially British people that live here. It's home, it's familiar, whatever. And it's sort of like, I think it would be like the Magic Kingdom, like Disneyland, like, Mickey Mouse. It's sort of these representations of British culture, you know what I mean, that are important to a lot of people in Britain. But it's strange because, I think the Kardashians example is completely apt because they have an influence on culture, but really nothing from a legislative standpoint,
right.
And so they're basically just celebrities, and the biggest celebrities in England, essentially.
Yeah.
And then again, if you're like, whatever age, you've watched Harry and Charles grow up, you know, and so it's like this thing has just been sort of omnipresent in your entire life. And then the Princess Diana thing was such a crazy event. So I do get it in England, but here it's like we have enough. We invented celebrity culture. Like, can we stop this? Like, please, for the love of God. But
we don't need to import celebrities.
No.
We have enough of our own.
I know. So, whatever. But the title of this podcast is I Don't Want Your Life Story, and similar to I Don't Want to Hear Meghan Markle's life story.
Yeah, fuck off.
So something that's making me fucking crazy is that I've been, we've been getting all these exotic meats and whatnot, and I've been wanting to find recipes on how to cook them. And it's made me crazy because every single fucking online recipe starts with the person's fucking life story and how it pertains to this dish. And I actually wanted to pull up the one that I made for us tonight, which is basically like a ceviche, because this is a prime example of why this makes me crazy. So this is for aguachile. So
aguachile.
So okay, so I just want to know what the ingredients are, right?
Yeah, looks delicious, right?
Right.
Fantastic looking recipe.
And so in order to get to that, we got to read, like, ever since we got back from Mexico, I've been chomping at the bits. Share this. One of my favorite things to eat in Mexico, along with ceviche, is aguachile. Ceviche, blah, 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 blah. Okay. Like, obviously, if I Googled aguachile, I know what the fuck it is.
Yes.
So that's the beginning.
How would you ever stumble upon a recipe like this just by browsing the internet?
You would not.
Exactly. You seek out this recipe.
Right.
As with most recipes.
Right.
Oh, you know what? I have duck that I need to roast.
Right.
Oh, I'm going to look up a roast duck recipe.
Right.
The French love roast duck.
Yeah. Perry says they write all this so they can cram the advertisements in, but it's exactly it. And but there's a thing about this particular one that I have here that makes it's so designed to do that it makes me fucking crazy, and I'll explain why. So here's all of her fucking dumb preamble, like about like all of her dumb shit. And it's like, it's all these like life stories. So like, here's what makes me crazy. So here are the steps, right?
Yeah.
So these are the steps on how to make it, but I have to go through the steps before I can get to the portions of the ingredients.
Good Lord.
And so
the recipe's literally at the bottom.
Right. And so like,
the recipe is 1/3 of the page.
Right. Which is just like, again, if she had just had that and that, it would be so much better. So this has been making me really, really fucking crazy, right?
Yeah.
And like so much so that I'm sure all of you that are here, you saw my tweet about it on Twitter of just like, can we please, for the love of God, not hear your life story? I just want to know the fucking recipe. And then I realized today that it actually got liked by the guy that this article we're going to read is about, whose website got shut down for we'll get into it.
Wow.
But so because everything is manufactured now, right? They have to be like, they understand that like there's a community of food bloggers like this because they create a website that just would basically do like what Outline does, where it just gives you the fucking information. Not like I don't want to hear, I don't care about your life. I don't know you. It doesn't matter. And like, dude, if you just gave a great recipe that people reviewed well and you said, hey, if you want, donate $1, boom, you got it.
Yeah.
Like if I made the recipe a few times and I liked it, I would give you $1, no problem. Mm-hmm. And so yeah, they're sticking in all these, like all this preamble. So now, because all these dumb food bloggers were complaining about this site that would simplify the page, they have to make it into a woke issue, of course.
Yeah.
And this one again, like woke shit is just like funny to me now, but it's like again the manufacturing of consent and so this is from CNN.
CNN, what it says about us when we want a cook's recipe but not their humanity. Okay. Not everyone wants to cook mung bean popsicles. Judy Lung, one of the people behind recipe website The Walks of Life, understands that. So when she shared her recipe online, she opened her blog post by taking the reader back to Shanghai, where she grew up. There, she wrote, popsicle peddlers would ride through the city on bicycles, wooden boxes strapped to the back seats, selling the treat.
Okay, so we don't need to hear that.
We don't.
Just tell us why it's good, even though it sounds gross. Like that's enough. Like that would be about that much on the page.
Yeah.
Like about like a half a paragraph.
Right. You can talk about the sweetness of the bean or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah, or like how you can prepare it. I mean, like, you know, you say like black bean pie or like sweet potato pie, people go gross. And you're like, if you've not eaten these things like in the South, primarily like black folks will eat it and it's great. But it's like, if you explain why it's good and what it tastes like, then people will be like, oh, I'll try something new, right?
Mm-hmm. When the neighborhood kids, when the neighborhood kids heard the peddlers' distinguished haulers, they would charge out with pennies in hand, hoping to get the popsicle with the most beans. The post, which also features illustrated step-by-step cooking instructions, reads, everyone knew they were the best part. For Long and many other cooks who make a living as food bloggers, telling the story behind certain dishes is part of the recipe itself. But over the weekend, a proposed website called Recipeasly raised concerns among the community of food bloggers. It said it would provide recipes sans information beyond an ingredient list and cooking steps.
Yes.
That sounds amazing.
It sounds like a cookbook.
That's a dream. Yeah.
A cookbook. Mm-hmm. Or do it like a cookbook. You can have 2 pages. Like where you can have your whole bullshit about your life that nobody cares about.
Yeah.
And how you found this recipe and growing up in Shanghai and, you know, cutting the heads off of chickens and eating their feet. And then on the next page, you can have what we actually want to see, which is the steps in the recipe, right?
Right. Tom Redman, one of the website's creators, described it as your favorite recipes, except without the ads or life stories. Users would be able to plug in the recipe of choice, and the site would strip it of any extra text, including the recipe author's name. Redman apologized soon after and said he was taking down the website as its creators re-examine our impact on the community.
So he got bullied into doing it.
He did, yeah. He did not immediately respond to CNN's request for comment, but tweeted that if the site returns, it'll be with changes where we have fallen short. While the website is now down, news of its launch amplified a larger issue, many food bloggers said. So often people simply want a recipe without the person behind it.
Yeah.
Yes, that's what they want.
Exactly.
Look, in any other market, you adapt to your target audience.
Or if you want to tell your fucking life story, do what Emmy Made in Japan does.
Yeah.
Like a great chef that makes all kinds of weird exotic foods, and she's an interesting personality and shows you step by step on video. Like actually put in some fucking effort. Like
yeah.
I you can still be a writer. You can write a script. I mean, like you can even just show yourself making it and narrate what you have written. Mm-hmm. It's like so then
intersperse your story of it.
Exactly,
you know?
and frankly, as somebody who has ADD, I would love to have a video like with step by step directions.
Yeah.
And so then it would just be this much of your page, and you can run ads on that.
Yeah.
And then have the actual thing below it.
Perfect.
Easy.
Perfect. It pulls our identity away from the thing we're creating, which personally is hurtful. Amelia Clark Buckley, who runs the diabetes-focused recipe website Hangry Woman, told CNN.
I hate women so much.
I'm making this thing for you, but you don't want me to be a part of it. You want me to be these invisible hands in the background. Oh boy, this is making me angry. Like, shut the fuck
I
up.
know.
Food blogger is not a real job.
This is like, and like I believe these people are real and they actually had complaints, but it's like, it's always women doing this shit. Like, what the fuck is like? It's just like because if you're making a living being a food blogger, your life is so fucking good that you have to find the most minute grievances of all time. And people would only go to this guy's website because you're annoying in the way that you present your whole thing, and it's so laden with ads and bullshit. Nobody wants to do this. And most people, like myself, have to do these things from the phone, which compresses the text even more into a wall. Yeah. And there's like autoplay videos and all this stupid shit. And so it's...
Right. And also the idea here is that we are stripping away their humanity by skipping past the thing, but they're stripping away their own by interspersing ads in their life story. They're selling their life story.
That's exactly it. Right.
They've already lost their soul.
Yep.
You know?
Yeah.
So... Fuck you guys.
Yeah, fuck your life story.
Fuck your life story. Fuck your chicken strips. Every food blogger has heard some version of the same complaint. Cut to the chase. Many don't want to read a long post before the recipe. They just want the recipe. Then why aren't you fucking adapting to that?
I know. And so like you're
thing.
you're like, this is capitalism. You're getting squeezed out of the market because you're fucking annoying.
Yeah. Right. But that complaint is one based in an overgeneralization of recipe websites, said Lisa Lin, who has run the website Healthy Nibbles and Bits since 2014. It's based on a reality that was more prominent in the early days of food blogging, she said. Back then, it was more of a blog first and recipe second. People were there to follow the person as opposed to the food.
Never. No.
Never. That's never been the case.
Nope. And again, like if you were an entertaining personality, because like again, there's so much ego that goes into like you're a good writer. Because if you did do videos, the chaff would be cut out. Like if you're not an interesting or entertaining person, which food should be. Like people who are good chefs are generally pretty interesting, entertaining people. I've found that to be the case anecdotally, right? And so because like making food and giving it to other people is like one of the greatest gifts and joys in life. So like generally, if you enjoy cooking, I would venture the guess that you're a pretty happy person, right?
Yeah. Another thing is that like there's never been a time where I read a book and I thought, man, I really would love to get to know this author better. I don't really think about that when I'm reading a book. I'm thinking about the story. I'm not reading a recipe and being like, man, this person seems like a great person. I'd love to hear more of their history.
Right.
I don't connect with the author of the recipe when I'm reading a recipe, and that might be like kind of sociopathic or whatever.
No,
but I don't really want to
because you want to choose to read about somebody's life story. Like like take Anthony Bourdain for example, right?
Yes.
He would write books about his life and then recipe books. So
Completely separate.
Yeah. So, and his life was interesting. So, like, I read his book because it was interesting, and a lot of it was parallel to my life. And I was like, great, this is like a very interesting book.
That's exactly the thing. I would buy an autobiography to read about the person who wrote it. But I'm not going to read a recipe to learn about the person who wrote it.
Right. And again, like, I'm a dude, and so I have no connection to like a mommy blogger. Like this has nothing to do. Like when my kids get hungry, I'm like, I don't care. This doesn't connect to me. I don't care about your trip to Mexico where you fucking flayed your husband. Like I don't fucking care. Yeah. And so anyway.
But if you were making video content, that's when I relate to the person. And I'm like, oh, you're a lovely human being. Yeah. Like with Emmy Made in Japan, who is a sweet angel.
And she makes amazing looking food.
Always.
And you can see it. That's the other thing too. Like you see her making it. You get the like she's making something cheesy. She'll do like this move.
She does the cheese pulled across section, everything.
And you like all you want to the end of the video is like, I'm so glad you enjoyed that food. Like, exactly. So you like root for her,
Exactly.
Okay.
Let's see. Now, Lynn said most recipe posts focus on how to cook that recipe or why the author is using certain ingredients. It's all in an effort to arm the user with as much information as possible. I don't think so. And it's not like every recipe Lynn posts gets this treatment or requires it. In a recipe for crispy teriyaki tofu, for example, Lynn mainly gives instructions on how to press the tofu so it comes out as crispy as possible before jumping to the ingredient list and the instructions. Excuse me. The information she does include, though, is still relevant.
What?
Another incredible Oprah drop.
So I should keep going here.
Clark Buckley, that's not a real name.
No, she's a two last namer. So you kind of know what kind of person she is. Like she had to have her maiden name's Clark and then her husband's name is Buckley.
I think it's like Lisa or something. Yeah. Or no, that's Lisa Lynn. Whatever. Who has written Hangry Woman since 2016, always includes context at the top for what ingredients to use. Writing for people with diabetes, she wants them to understand the deeper context as for whatever swap she makes because it's a benefit for their health.
Okay, so if she hadn't been impacted by the fact that no one cared about her writing, why would she even be why would she be interested in being featured in this article? Right. Other than people don't want to hear from fucking Clark Buckley, you dumb bitch. Like maybe people don't want to hear about, like maybe you have abused the system too much. Yeah. Because why would any of you be volunteering for this article unless you abused your privileges as a mommy food blogger?
Right.
Okay.
Where am I? Someone without diabetes might not need that context, but there are resources to get the recipe as fast as possible if they want that. And it's true. Most recipe websites have a jump to recipe button somewhere near the top, so users can skip ahead if they so choose. There's no shame in that. I'm thinking any recipe website that I've looked at, I don't remember there ever being a button.
Never.
Also, like,
and not to mention, because like, on my computer I can block all their ads.
Yeah.
But it's like also pop-up videos I have to X out of that are like unrelated to the whole thing.
So, and also Clark Buckley saying like, if there are resources to get the recipe as fast as possible if they want that. You guys literally just struck down one of the major resources to get a recipe without all the fat.
Yes, exactly.
They struck down the website that just has recipes that you can plug in.
Correct.
So that's a lie.
It's absolutely a lie.
The resources are going away because it's now woke to read someone's life story in a recipe.
Correct.
Or something. It's something like woke.
Well, that's what they're trying to do. They brought in the Asian gal so they can be like it's racist, and they had to have
diabetic woman.
They had to have her. Well, yeah, because she's a double threat because she's a woman and she's also a fat fuck that has diabetes. Or maybe she's not. Maybe she has type 1. But like, again, if you have diabetes and you don't know how to you have to learn how to eat or make food or whatever. And so it's like, you could pretty much modify most recipes, or just don't eat sugar. I mean,
don't eat sugar.
Like, I mean, like whatever. But so let's just see here.
In his tweets, Redmond said the goal of Recipeasly was not to minimize the results of food bloggers' hard work, but he added, clearly how we're marketing Recipeasly doesn't demonstrate that respect at all. We missed the mark big time, and I'm sorry. Ugh. Because most food blogs are run by women, some experts say a website like Recipeasly could signal a devaluing of women's work, as these recipe websites...
That conversation.
Wait, play it again.
Who is having that conversation?
Women.
Only women.
Only women.
Only women are having that conversation.
Yeah.
That's so funny. Devaluing women's work. The food blogosphere definitely skews towards female authorship and readership, which is also probably why so many people trivialize the characteristics that define a food blog, such as the stories. Says Dr. Tisha Dejmanet, a lecturer of digital and social media at the University of Technology, Sydney, told CNN.
Okay.
Is that a real job?
Oh my God! See, this is where we're getting deep now.
They brought in a doctor.
Well, and then this next paragraph.
Dejmanet, who has done research on the intersections of feminism and food blogs, said recipe developers typically put hours of work into testing recipes, food styling, and photography to create high quality content.
Okay, so this person got a grant to do research to prove the fact that most food blogs are run by women. Money well spent.
Very well spent.
Well spent.
Thank you, University of Sydney.
Yeah, my fucking God.
Recipeasly and any apps or websites like it can hurt revenue streams for these creators. Rather than crediting them for their work, tools like Recipeasly would actually erase the labor of the developers by commoditizing, very much an academia word, commoditizing their recipes to generate a personally profitable business model.
So, like, let me stop. And the fact
which is clearly an exploitative relationship.
Of course.
That's what the end of that quote.
Of course. And which is, like, of course, like what they would say. But the one thing that I will give them credit for is he should put the name of the... He should have put the name.
The author should remain.
Yes,
yeah.
of course.
And I think maybe like that was just an oversight.
I think it was too. Yeah,
because it's not intentional to remove the author's name.
Or you know what it probably was he had created like some sort of algorithm that would just grab all this shit, and it didn't have like the feature to just automatically add the name in.
Yeah.
Like almost like how Outline works, it just gets rid of all the fat on the article, and then so it's probably something like that. I doubt it was on purpose.
Yeah. The primary way most food bloggers did I already read that? Didn't want any pay for it, and they don't want the developers to get paid either, says Clark Buckley. In his series of tweets, Redmond clarified the website creators do not make any money off of this. There is no revenue, much less profit.
Okay, so this one right here is just so.
This is like attempting to be Galaxy Brain.
It's just
when we buy iPhones, we don't think about the context, said Lynn. That's how some people view food. It's just a mere commodity to just feed hunger, but they don't also think about the person who's making it.
We're making it, bitch. It's your recipe that I'm cooking in my house.
Yes.
I don't care about
It's
you.
our food.
Yes. Like, you just happen to know which ingredients this thing needs. Like, I may forget that it needs fennel or whatever. Like, so you just kind of give me, oh, you're right, I need to get that fucking thing. You are a grocery list, bitch. Like... What the fuck are you talking about?
Stop it. You're commodifying women.
Oh, my God. Well, I think they deserve to be problematized, commodified,
problematized,
racistified.
Oh, my God. This is a much longer article than I remember skimming through.
Okay, here's where
This
it gets
is
even
so
It gets
embarrassing.
even more. Well, I know, dude. Isn't it? Like this is like definitely like just that Twitter posting women's L's online.
Yeah.
This is such a woman's L. It's
This
just,
is like the excesses of feminism and the excesses of American culture
absolutely
in general.
Absolutely,
you know?
and you know, like so, if Kate still listens, I haven't seen her in a while. She might not. We're not you. You're a dude, but like it's these types of
Right,
women.
dude is a mentality. It's not a gender.
And kind of like how we push back against annoying gay people or non-binary or you know the Q, which to me is QAnon and LGBTQ.
Yeah.
Do what we are doing. Like stop these women. If you're a woman, just tell them to shut the fuck up. Like,
Yeah.
and you're making your whole gender look bad. Like stop it for the love
Right.
of God. So so here we go.
Where was
This
I?
bit here because
Okay.
it's like this is when they're just trying to make it like now it's racist.
Yeah, for Sarah and Caitlin Long, who created the Walks of Life with their parents Judy and Bill in 2013, the website isn't just about providing recipes. First and foremost, it's a culinary genealogy. Though they do have a jump to recipe button at the top of their pages.
No, they don't.
They told CNN they actually do see most people wanting to read about the dishes they
No,
post.
they don't.
I think what they mistake for most people is the select few people on Twitter quote tweeting their recipe links,
Right.
being like, "Oh, I love the backstory of this,"
And be
it's
grateful.
like 5 people, and it's like, "Yeah, great, lovely."
Yeah.
but that's not most people reading a recipe.
You should not. I mean, you know, like with just doing a food blog, you should not be allowed to. Like, you really shouldn't be able to make a living on that. I mean, that is like, I mean, maybe I don't know. Like, I mean, because again, it was interesting that Burger King tweet that said women belong in the kitchen, and it was about like them giving culinary, things to women where they
Right.
could work as chefs, but women don't want to work as chefs. They don't want to do like these are primarily like male-run jobs, you know. And so they want to be CEOs, and they want like jobs that are soulless and horrible, but they have status in our dumb society. But like I respect a chef way more than a CEO.
Yeah.
Like a good chef, you know. So it's. I think that like all this energy comes from like a feeling like a crisis of purpose in these people, and because they know it's a fucking grift. They know it. And like here's the reality too: is like I could be a fucking food blogger. Like I could find a recipe that's pretty good, modify like 4 different things, say it's mine. Because I was looking at Cioppino recipes, they're all about the same.
Yeah.
You know, and then like you'd be like, oh, I can add pineapple juice to it and it does something. You know what I mean?
My burgers from last night are based on a Trader Joe's slider recipe that I turned into full-size burgers,
Right.
stuff them with different things. Of course, the bacon is still in it.
Yeah.
The cheese and the barbecue sauce, though, my idea.
Yep.
It's, you know, it's so easy to do what they do.
Yes.
You get a good camera. You know how to stage things. You have an eye for design, which is not, it's not like guaranteed that any one person has an eye for design, but like, the photos have to be pleasing. You can take video of it, but if you're even like the most basic nonfiction creative writer, like you can make an entire recipe blog.
Yeah.
It's not super difficult. Put one recipe up a week.
Yeah.
And if that is sustaining these food bloggers' lives, anyone can fucking do it.
I know. And you know, like again, it's like they're insecure about this because they know the grift is up.
The grift is up. Yeah, the grift is up.
This is so crazy too.
I think that desire to disregard context and put empathy aside in the interest of whatever personal drive you have.
I want to make food. That's my personal drive.
It's a literal survival drive.
You're right.
To just get dinner on the table, I think it's a lost opportunity to have a more meaningful engagement, said Caitlin Long. Though people love to make fun of grandma stories, Caitlin said, as her mom tests recipes, memories flood back from her childhood, things she may have even forgotten herself. Part of writing that story is for that documentation, for her, for the kids, or for future generations, Sarah Long said. Then write it for your future generations. You're
Right.
selling your soul to tell your life story in food by placing ads between every paragraph. Your poor grandmother probably has no idea what you're doing with her recipes.
You're commoditizing your grandmother.
You're commoditizing your grandmother, and you're participating in this article to make yourself feel better.
So here we go.
So embarrassing. For people to see that this was once the coveted thing for a little girl in China, it tells why this is a valued recipe and tells why we're taking the time to share it, said Caitlin Long. It's a first-hand perspective of history. It might seem small to people because it's just food, but it's important. And those stories, those histories, are sometimes just as important as something like how much salt to use.
Perry says, learn to code.
Learn to code, bitch. Get off your fucking Squarespace website, food blog, and learn to code.
And this is why
it's a sign of respect to the culture that you're bothering to explain why things are done a certain way. And if you don't, you're not really giving the due respect to the people who developed the dish, the lineage, Lynn said.
So, okay, so I would agree with that statement if I was in fucking China. Like,
Yeah.
I would want to know. But
Yeah.
most, like, especially Chinese dishes, like most of it is Americanized Chinese food anyway. Because, like, I'm not going to eat 1,000-year-old egg. Like that, you know what I mean? Like, I mean, the stuff that, like, native Chinese people eat is fucking horrifying. Why do we have the Wuhan Wees? It's because they ate a fucking bat. They just couldn't help themselves. They had to eat a disgusting bat in soup. So, like, no judgment to the culture, but it's fucking, by American standards, it's fucking gross.
Right.
So,
I'm sure there's food that people in China would be disgusted by that we eat here.
No.
Well, maybe, but still.
Yeah, no, I think they would probably be fine with all of it. But so if I was in China and we were like, let's go to like an authentic, whatever, Cantonese restaurant. Cantonese food's really good. But Cantonese restaurant. And I would, if they spoke English, I would talk to the chef, say like how, blah, blah, blah. I would do all this kind of stuff. But here it's like, well, number one, the very important context here is we're making your recipe at home.
Yeah.
So like, but if we went to your restaurant and you were the chef, like remember we went to that Ethiopian restaurant, the main chef came out and wanted to like to ask us if we liked it.
Yes.
And she told us like all about it.
Fantastic.
Like if you owned an establishment like that fucking hard as fuck awesome Ethiopian woman did that makes amazing food, I would love to hear your life story because I'm sitting there, I'm enjoying your meal, you made it, and I would love to hear about it.
Yeah.
But I'm making your food at home. I don't care about you, and especially because, like I said, you're looking for recipes because you have items you need to cook, and you already know what you need to make, and so you need to Google it, find the steps. So like, I'm not a follower of your blog. Your blog pops up because I need the recipe. Mm-hmm. So I don't care about you. I don't care that you're fucking Asian or a woman with diabetes. I don't want to hear it. I don't care. I don't care about your life story.
Yeah, please shut the fuck up.
Mm-hmm.
Just let us make food. And now more than ever.
I know. Let us eat food.
Oh my God.
Yeah, cool. I kind of feel this.
Were you silent or were you silenced?
Silenced.
And then the little eyebrow raise.
She's so pleased with herself. She's
so good. She definitely practiced that.
So speaking of people's life stories that I don't want to hear about and don't care about.
Yeah.
Joe Biden's dog bit a security guard.
No fucking. He did.
He did.
He did. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Holy shit. I did the thumbnails today. I'm like, oh yeah, got bit by a security guard. And then within the last half hour, I just forgot it happened.
Yeah, because the reason why, again, the theme of this whole thing is I don't care about your life story is because they tried to make these dogs like a dunk on Trump for not having a dog. And so they made like that pupper White House page or whatever.
Good
dumb
Lord,
fucking
yeah.
shit. Do you remember that?
I do, and I still see it occasionally.
It was the Pavel office or just something gay and ridiculous.
Yeah.
So they made that dumb fucking thing, and it wasn't Champ. I think the other one was like it's something equally as like dumb in America. It was like Champ or Maverick or like
Buster.
Like it was some M name. It was like Marshall Maverick. It was something
Max.
some white man naming his dog name. So Max, yeah, totally, yeah, Maxwell, Max for short. Ugh, God, I hate people like this. But anyway, so this is a giant story with this particular dog. Because it was this rescue German Shepherd, and it bit a security guard, and then immediately they went to Joe and said, Joseph, Marshall's getting sent. Maverick's getting sent to a very nice farm in Delaware, and he goes, who? What? Your dog, Joe. Your dog. I have a dog. You have a few dogs. And then they go in the back of the White House and they look at Maverick and said, thank you for being good for photo ops. They take a .22 caliber bullet and just blasted him right in the head, and now Maverick is no longer part of the Biden family.
And he gently died in his sleep.
And after that bullet pierced his his cranium,
cranium.
and his skull, he now is
And his skull.
He peacefully went to sleep from euthanasia. I really do believe that Maverick or whatever is having an eternal dirt nap. I really do.
Do you think they actually killed that dog?
I really do. Because that, I mean, that's what happens.
dog.
Like, I mean, it must have been bad enough to where the dog drew blood. And like,
Yeah.
typically when that happens, you either have a giant lawsuit or you kill the dog.
Right.
And so they definitely killed the dog. For sure.
Yeah.
So yeah, so it's you know, it's interesting, but like, so we heard all about Joe Biden's life story, and I want to show you how much Joe Biden cares about our life story. So I can't get past Washington Post's ridiculous fucking paywall. I tried, but the headline still stands.
Biden stimulus showers money on Americans, sharply cutting poverty and favoring individuals over businesses.
So do you think that this is okay? Well, number one, this isn't real. Like, this is a propaganda. I mean, it's the astroturfing and the propaganda has been so intense, and I still see people falling for it. Like, I had this thought in the car today when I was getting back from the grocery store. I was thinking, you know, because I have a friend that I would like to have on, but he's too technologically illiterate. But to click a link and get his, you know, whatever. But so I was thinking, because he sends me all these posts of his friends that are just so like, Biden is he's crushing it, right? And I'm like, these people have been so effectively convinced by propaganda that if I took all the, like, let's say 100 of these people and like had a big hall where I had a microphone and a pulpit, I could have them in a death cult in 3 months. 3 months, I could get them to kill themselves. No problem.
Yeah.
Like, that's how fucking brain dead these people are. I was saying to you, like, are chemtrails real and they're making people dumb, but we're like immune somehow?
Yeah. What was that tweet you saw? The Sacha Baron Cohen tweet?
Holy shit.
He's out of his goddamn mind.
He's out of his goddamn mind. Like, it was some parody artist who does graffiti art, and he did this one of like Bill Gates, like with a syringe, and then it said like putting microchips in your body or whatever.
Time for a system update or something like that.
Time for system update, exactly. And when if you look at the rest of this guy's art, it's all memes that he paints on walls. So like that was a meme. Like another one was it was Patrick Bateman talking about like the thickness of the card, like that scene in American Psycho.
Yeah.
And he says like, you know, the thickness of this NFT, which is like the non-fundable something.
It's a digital thing.
Digital thing that costs money. It's a new thing that's happening right now that I'm trying to understand.
It's a waste, you guys. As much value as it appears they have, they mean nothing.
Yeah.
And they could immediately drop from the online sphere in a snap.
Exactly.
So who cares about NFTs?
Yeah. So anyway, Sacha Baron Cohen has this tweet where he's like, attention, Mark Zuckerberg, how could you allow this image on the Instagram website? And he's like tagging him. He was like frantic about the satirical movie star who does satire was too stupid to recognize satire. And this whole coronavirus and Trump is so deep in this guy's riddled, wormy brain that he made himself look like a fucking retard. I mean, it was like any semblance of respect I had for him was just gone. It's like, I am not watching any of your shit anymore because it's not funny now. Like, it was funny when you were quiet, and then now that you're this loud and dumb, like, I can't really laugh at your shit anymore. It's like, it's not funny.
Those brainworms are a prerequisite to believing headlines like this.
Yeah, and so like in this headline, right? So like, okay, let's take a step back, right? So we got the headline, we get it. So okay, so let's take a step back, right? This bill, Trump gave us way more money. Like, and also keep in mind that $600 was still under the Trump administration. It was. Right? And they keep trying to manufacture consent. Like, that's one of them where they're trying to convince us that like Biden's thing is the best thing to ever happen to everybody ever. Yeah. But Trump gave us a $1,200 check, had $600 unemployment plus the $600, which was still under his administration. The vaccine was because of Operation Warp Speed, but they want to say Joe's pushing it out faster, which would have been the inevitable sort of tumbling of things had Trump still been president. So it's all just fucking astroturfing bullshit lies. It's not even a defense of Trump. It's just kind of like, it's just being honest. We're just being honest. And so, but people really just fall for this. And again, I'm creating a death cult. I'm announcing it here. And so I can just rid the world of like a handful of these people so they won't bother you guys anymore. So that's coming soon. Jordan's death cult coming in 2021.
It's like the government that Biden inherited that nobody seems to want to talk about.
Right.
But everybody wants to talk about how Obama inherited a fucking crashing economy
It never
in
ended.
2008.
It never ended.
And they constantly talked about it. It was one of my main talking points in like 2010 when I was pretending to become politically online.
Right.
It was like Obama inherited this awful government, this awful economy. It's not his fault.
Right.
But now they don't want to maybe admit that Biden inherited policies that were already in motion to get people vaccinated or money that needed to get sent out to Americans. And of course, a COVID relief bill was passed today, which great. Yeah. But Biden is dragging his feet.
Well,
because he does not work for us.
Because it was, the part that pissed me off, right, was it was this Joe Manchin faggot who was like the one that was holding everything up because he needed Republicans to agree with him. I think he must feel like he's really beholden to his constituents or whatever that are kind of, because he is kind of like in a purple district and like kind of by the skin of his teeth like as a Democrat.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like, dude, you poll anybody that ended up voting for Trump, it's like because I saw his fucking name on the check because of like he gave us money.
Yeah.
Gave us money. So it's like people are like his name, Joe Manchin, was the fucking roadblock on this thing. So we knew the entire GOP wouldn't vote for it, of course. So that's like ever since Clinton, they've been the party of no to anything the Democrats want to do. That is like, so we know this already. They suck, blah, blah, blah. They have sucked for fucking 30 years, 40 years. Who cares, right? Yeah. This one fucking Democrat asshole, Joe Manchin and Kristen Sinema and all these other fucking idiots, are the ones that held it up. So we have two people, right? We have Joe Manchin who made this so fucking difficult and made it like just keep dragging into like time where it wasn't getting passed. And then we have Kristen Sinema who did her cutesy little curtsy with the $15 minimum wage. And these people are severely underestimating that people vote for you if they see money go into their bank account.
Yeah.
Obviously. Money is the biggest driving incentive for how you vote of all time. So these people are fucking gone. Like even if it was like Republicans, like most even Republicans don't like austerity shit. Like not government ghoul Republicans, but like Republicans on the ground, real fucking working people. This shit, like, they that's what they want too.
Yeah.
Like it's why like every conservative Latino, not everyone, but like large swaths of them voted for Trump because of money. Like they weren't even, I mean, they're kind of culturally conservative, but they don't typically vote conservative.
Right.
But they did because of money.
Yes.
Money.
Yes. Did you hear Biden's not going to be signing the checks?
Yes, I did hear that too, which is stupid.
It's the stupidest move he could make.
And
he can take all credit for these checks.
I know.
For the $1,400 checks or whatever.
I know.
But he's choosing not to.
I know. And it's so fucking pathetic.
That's so funny.
But like, and I had a point, my point though with Biden, and again, because just to keep this about him, is like, so this Joe Manchin thing was inexcusable. I mean, absolutely. Like, and the American populace, right, left, was watching this asshole of like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
And where the fuck was Joe Biden? Like, if Joe Biden had addressed the nation and been like, this fucking asshole is like, and your constituents better fucking remember this. Like, and again, so it would get him to vote no. But it's like, still, it's just like, where the fuck is he? I have not seen that motherfucker, like, other than like forgetting who his Secretary of Defense was, and didn't seem to even know where the fuck he was. They're hiding him. They're absolutely, and like Kamala Harris too. Where the fuck is she? Like, it's like they just,
all they do is post photos on Twitter of them walking.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I see these days.
Only thing. Or it's like,
where are you going, bitch?
Or like those fan cams of Joe Biden where it's like in slow motion. You're just like, dude, it is getting like state media level. It already is. I mean, it's just, it's so like, it was like a joke for a while, and now it's absolutely for real. And again, like we have Jeff Bezos's Washington Post saying that he's showering us with money. And keep in mind, there are some great things in this, like the $3,000 child tax credit. It's great.
Yeah.
This $1,400, great. You know, the not changing the unemployment, not so great. But at the same time, it's like you're doing this one time. This like that tax credit for children, even Romney wants it to just be in perpetuity.
Yeah.
But no. So you're not cutting poverty in half. Like this article says that he's cutting poverty in half for a month.
Exactly.
For a month.
1 month.
Yeah. And so it's just the most ridiculous level of like just absolute utter horseshit.
Like, what do you mean? Cutting poverty in half means nothing. That's not a sentence that makes any sense.
No.
But if we're gonna use that same logic, Trump did the same with the stimulus checks the first time around.
Correct.
The $2,000, right, or $1,200? Excuse me.
It was $1,200, and then there was a $600 plus up on the unemployment.
So
and then when all these assholes couldn't agree on, because unemployment went down to the normal amount without the plus up, which is not enough money for anybody to survive on, especially in California. Trump did an executive order to take FEMA funds to at least plus it up to the amount that it's at now.
Yeah,
it's still $300 for the plus up, which still isn't enough money, and so like. He really did way more than this asshole did concerning this kind of thing. And because, like, you know, Trump, to his credit, as a Republican, was not an austerity asshole. He did not mind spending money at all, because I think as a populist, whether you liked it or not, he understood what people want, which is money. You know, and it's what he wants, which is, I think, is partly why it worked. So, you know, talk about Biden cutting poverty in half. I found this map. I was looking for like where I could get vaccinated, or if I could, and they had this map here, and so it's basically like a health map, like representation. So
I haven't seen this yet.
Yeah, this was fascinating to me. So like, let me get down to where Jesus Christ. Let me get to where we are.
It's gonna be a little laggy.
There we go. So here's Los Angeles, right?
Tell us what the colors mean.
I will tell you in a moment. So blue is unhealthy and green is very healthy, right?
Yes.
So which areas do you expect to be unhealthy?
If I were to make a guess,
like
I'd say
what types of people?
Poor people.
Correct. So here's Compton, one of the some of the most unhealthy people on the planet.
Dark blue.
Lakewood is a very high income tech center area. Very dark green. We have Belmont Shore, where I used to live.
Dark green as well. Very nice area.
And this is where we are over here.
Yep.
Dark blue.
Dark blue.
And so could it be?
And look at most of Los Angeles. South LA is entirely dark blue.
Right.
That is fucking crazy. Commerce, Huntington Park, East LA.
Yes.
Monterey Park, El Monte.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely unhealthy.
Correct.
Inglewood.
Yep.
Westmont. Are you serious? Like Linwood. All these places are dark blue.
Right.
And what's the correlating factor? It's poverty.
Poverty and race, which are like...
And race. They are intermeshed.
They intersect. I mean, that's like the one time where I will actually use the word intersectional, but they like... It's by design that our leaders never talk about this intersection, because they'd have to address some real fucking problems that they have now dictated are racially insensitive to talk about. So it's like, we don't really... Like, it's so funny how much they talk about identity politics, but they really don't want to help black people at all. I mean, it's so... fucking fascinating. So yeah, Joe Biden has saved us, and we're cured of poverty.
Beautiful.
Yeah,
I love this map. It's so heartening to see this.
Yes. So
it just confirms my suspicion.
Yeah, which it's like one of those things. Like, it's a suspicion, but again, like, you're smart enough to already know it. Like, I knew it. We can see it everywhere. Yeah. I mean, like, you know, and so it's so fucking obvious. So speaking of more of stories that I don't want to hear your life story. International Women's Day happened.
Oh, what did you do to celebrate?
Let's see.
I blasted my pussy.
I just sat down on the bed, put on some I don't know, Michelle Branch, and flicked my bean.
Some Sheryl Crow.
Sheryl Crow.
She's fantastic.
She's exempt from that. Yeah. But
I put on some Phoebe Bridgers.
Phoebe Bridgers. I was trying to think. Melissa, what's the dyke musician that puts on Lilith Fair? I
don't know.
Come to my window by the light of the moon. Yeah, her. So
beautiful.
It doesn't matter. Just some lesbian. Anyway, so there was the funniest, like, normally, like, Women's Day has, like, since it's like this whole thing fucking started, especially, well, it's been around forever for you know, for whatever reason, but like now when the Women's March happened and Trump, now everything that you use that is technology related, or even newspapers or like anything, they have to just shove it in your fucking face, like every fucking thing is that. So Melissa Etheridge, thank you.
There we go. Thank you,
Greg. But this time around, like, I think I'm either getting hardened or like softer, or I just don't care anymore about these culture things. So I was just laughing so hard at these two groups of people that I like really despise fighting with each other. So the ACLU put out a tweet that said, on this International Women's Day, we want to celebrate all women, no matter their gender, sex, or like, it was basically like a pro-trans on Women's Day tweet.
Yeah.
And then like women who wouldn't have typically been seen like as TERFs or whatever, they were like, wait a minute, this is my Women's Day. It's mine. It's not yours, you trans people. It's mine. And then it was trans people below like, but it's ours too. It's our Trans Women's Day. And so I was just howling about that tweet in bed, which you saw me, like that whole thread of things. And then I found one from a friend of yours.
Or somebody I have met once or twice.
Who just came out as trans. And then their post was them kind of like, what was the pose they were in? It was like, yeah, exactly. And then what was the caption?
Celebrating my first International Women's Day.
It was just so.
She was so funny to me because she was not a good person before her transition, nor was she after, as far as I can
she used
tell.
to be a catty cunt, you know. I mean, it's like, you know, what it all kind of fits into place. But yeah, so it's like it was so funny to me just to watch. It's mine.
This is my Women's Day.
It's not your Women's Day. It's mine.
Did you see that post by oh no, what is her name? She is the girl. She was like, gay men, you are one of us.
Yeah.
I love her. And she's like, to all women, straight women, bi women, lesbians.
Because even though it was a joke, there was a lot of truth. I think that she might be a lesbian too, but like,
I think so.
Yeah,
what is her name?
I can't remember. I used to follow her, but I didn't know her. So if I knew her, I would have muted her, but I don't know her in person. But she just had like retweeted dumb shit and whatever.
Oh,
and so
boring. Yeah.
And so like, I just was kind of like, I ended up taking her. Meg, was it Meg Stalter? No, she's another one.
No, Meg Stalter, but similar
vibe.
Stuff,
yeah. But yeah, dude, I like that's what's been so. I think that the reason why the culture war stuff is like not affecting me in the slightest, because I have tons of friends that I used to talk about this kind of stuff too. Like, what do you think about the Dr. Seuss thing? I'm like, I don't care. I really don't care.
Right.
Like,
none of it matters.
None of it matters. Like, you know, it's not like
psyop.
You know, like that. You know, well, they're burning books, and it's like, well, do you not think that you can get a PDF? I can get the. I can get the anarchist cookbook. I can get how to make a pipe bomb in Minecraft. You can 3D print a lower receiver. You know,
right.
The most important invention since the Soda Stream. You know,
hypothetically, yeah.
Yeah, hypothetically in Minecraft, I could theoretically in Minecraft
with the right mods, you can build a lower half receiver
and the right mithril. That's not the wrong game. Whatever. But yeah, but the culture war shit just seems to work itself out. Like these women who like were not considered TERFs before are going to start to get pissed by this very tiny group of trans people and their allies that are so stupid and so brainwormy that they can't really they get triggered by the just most minor kind of thing. Like someone saying like, actually this day's about real women. Actually, it's kind of like Valentine's Day, and it's utter fucking horseshit. Like, how about we have no days, like, or months?
None.
Like, this is the dumbest fucking shit. Like, it's all just self-congratulatory bullshit where it's mostly people who aren't that particular thing. Mm-hmm. Well, Women's Day is definitely a women's construction. It's mostly women who like decide, you know, we need Pride Month or we need Black History Month. It's like these kinds of things and like, you know, Morgan Freeman was like, I don't want you have a month. I don't fucking want this month.
Yeah.
And so it's all just so stupid.
Also, remember, any international holiday, particularly in America, is used as a way to get your money.
Yes.
Companies will tweet shit like was KFC who tweet Burger King. Burger King will tweet shit like women belong in the kitchen, and it goes viral, and then they reply to their tweet saying, but there aren't as many as there should be. Only 20% of chefs are women.
It's a shame to me because they were giving out scholarships. I don't really know what that entailed, but it was not a bad thing. But I thought it was like, I got to give them credit. I mean, that was some of the most clever bit of viral marketing I think I've ever seen in my life.
But remember, now every company is going to do that.
Well, yeah, but I mean, again, they paved the way. Well, great. To have fucking dunk on women tweets, I'm all for it.
And I hope Arby's tweets, I hate faggots coming into my store.
Yes, I can.
And then replying, if they're in a bad mood, we want every fag to come here in a great mood and have a wonderful time.
We're gagging for you, faggot. Gio says, what do we think of Charlotte Clymer? I fucking hate her. She's an absolute fucking DNC shill who and She's the worst.
She is the worst.
She's the absolute fucking
regardless
worst.
of identity. She is the worst.
I don't get like she has resigned her identity in my eyes. Like I don't have any respect for the fact that she's trans. I do not care. I'm clearly still willing to say pronouns 'cause I think it's fucking dumb to like not do it. But she sucks. She just sucks. She's a horrible, horrible, awful, monstrous person who I think is the one that poisoned the Human Rights Campaign and made them like just absolute, like they're like the ACLU. I mean, it's like these groups that had a lot of influence and change people's lives in a positive way now have no teeth anymore.
Yeah.
They've become like fundraising apparatuses for the fucking DNC essentially. Apparati? I don't know, whatever. So yeah, I think that's that on that one. So just two quick things. I want you guys to fucking buckle in because I think that Derek Chauvin's getting off.
Oh, that's right.
For the George Floyd case, and they're doing the jury selection right now for a few different reasons. Number one, they way overcharged him. I think
we talked about this when it first happened.
We did, and I think I said the same thing. Well, not when it first happened because we had to all say the right things during that time period. But now we can be a little bit like. But I'm pretty
sure we said they should not charge him for first degree.
So it was when he got charged. You mean when it first happened when he got charged?
When he got charged, it was the first charge was second degree. I think
it was
right?
first degree. They were going. For
they bumped it to first.
But now it's second degree and then manslaughter. Involved or maybe I think it actually is just manslaughter. And then they're trying to tack on third degree as well. But here's how the legal system works. There's two giant glaring issues here. So I knew that he had drugs in his system. And I knew which ones they were. I did not know the amount. Mm-hmm. And then so I saw the full toxicology report, and the amount of fentanyl and methamphetamine that he had in his system is easily enough to stop your heart. I mean, like easily, right? Mm-hmm. And if you watch, and you don't like to watch this shit. I didn't even really like watching it, but I've now seen the entire interaction from start to finish, like from body cam footage, surveillance. It all has sound. He was saying he couldn't breathe long before they even had him on the ground. I mean, the dude was erratic, acting like fucking crazy. They were pretty nice to him to a point until they had him on the ground. They were just trying to get him to stop. And so those two drugs in his system, he had hypertension. He just had gotten over COVID or still had it.
Yeah.
This is all confirmed. And everything that would have made you have a heart attack was happening in that moment. Mm-hmm. The second thing is in the official autopsy, there was no damage to his neck that would have caused death.
Right.
So now the prosecution has to prove that what Derek Chauvin did was the ultimate contributing factor to George Floyd's death, right? And again, they asked him, "Are you on any drugs?" He said no. That's all on this video. Mm-hmm. And so the other part of it too is that this is the last bit. The move that Derek Chauvin did on George Floyd's neck, albeit optically and horrifically wrong, was perfectly legal and in their training handbook
in that state.
Yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so, dude is getting off. Like I cannot unless there is some sort of concerted effort to throw this guy under the bus so the city doesn't burn. That would if he gets charged and for this full amount and goes to jail, it is just because they want to quell riots. Yeah. If there's justice and I don't like the fact that George Floyd died. I think it's terrible. But a lot of why George Floyd died was George Floyd, and it sucks. It really fucking sucks. And I think a lot of the stuff that we care about in terms of class politics and, they probably could have saved his life, but we don't do that shit. We don't care. And so, And so what sucks too is so if it was just the knee on the neck and that's what killed him and that's what he gets charged with, I think people would, or it was rather, it was in the handbook and he was allowed to do it. I think people would be pissed, but it would sort of chill out. But when it's drugs like this and it's so they can just prove without a reasonable doubt that there was so much in there, this is enough to stop any healthy person's heart. I mean, and he wasn't healthy. And
particularly in a state of distress, which is what he was in. Mm-hmm. You put anybody's heart under duress like that while they're on those drugs, they have a heart attack and die.
Yeah. But the thing with drugs like this, it doesn't even give the prosecution a chance. Like the way that the legal system works is it's and the coroner actually in his coroner's report, he said that if you would have found George Floyd dead in his house, we would have ruled it as an accidental drug overdose.
Yeah.
So I think it's done. I mean, like I said, unless it's some conspiratorial thing to throw this guy under the bus so cities don't burn, it's donezo. So
Yeah.
And it's not as if like any of this doesn't suck and cops don't suck and all that. We who like it's just what's going to happen is people are going to lose their fucking mind in two different ways. Like it's going to fucking snap the narrative for a lot of people. It's going to get a lot of people who are scared to even talk like this now to like admit that they were feeling this way for a long fucking time. And I'm just hoping for the love of fuck it doesn't start some kind of race divide even more than it already is.
Yeah.
Which will be like if there is a massive race divide that causes violence, it's going to rest squarely on the shoulders of the Democratic Party.
Yeah.
It's going to be entirely their fault because they didn't do anything about this or release that longer body cam footage or give it any kind of context because they were loving that this was happening under Trump. They loved it.
And now it's happening under Biden.
And it's in what we saw under Trump is going to be It's going to be bad.
Nothing.
Yeah, it's going to be really bad.
Now what we're going to see is going to be bad. Yeah.
Yeah. So
compared to what we will see, Trump's riots are going to be nothing.
Yeah. Well, and Brand says same thing could have happened to a white dude, honestly, but that doesn't sell nearly as well. And like the case I always bring up is Kelly Thomas.
Yep.
He got beaten to death, like literally held down and beaten to death in Fullerton by two Latino officers. Fullerton, California. And if you go to his Wikipedia page, Kelly Thomas, the pictures of his face in the aftermath is way more horrifying than George Floyd.
Yeah.
Like in terms of like types of deaths that I would prefer, I would take George Floyd any fucking day of the week over what happened to Kelly Thomas. But Kelly Thomas is white and homeless. So nobody cared.
Yeah.
Nobody cared. That should have caused national fucking outrage. But what happens is it's not even black people getting more upset about it than white people. It's that neither side would really get that upset. But the media just loves to sensationalize these stories. They love to elevate them. They love, like the one I was talking to you about the other day that I think his name's Kendrick Johnson. He was this poor as in unfortunate this happened to him. This kid, he would keep his shoes stored in a wrestling mat that was rolled up and it was vertical. And what happened to him basically was he was leaning over the vertical wrestling mat, which is like thick. It's like probably, these things probably weigh like over 100 or probably like over 200 pounds. They're very thick.
Yeah.
And he accidentally slipped inside of it, wiggled, and just like upside down, he got stuck in this wrestling mat, right? And then it was like when a break was about to happen, so he was there for 3 days and he died. And you can also asphyxiate by being upside down for that long.
Yeah.
So
after a few hours, your
hours,
brain and your heart start to strain.
Yep, and the whole community, like the media reported it as this was definitely like a homicide. You know, some classmates killed him and rolled him up in this mat because he was black, and the family was going for it. The ACLU got involved. Al Sharpton got involved, and then eventually, as the police started to just show that nothing happened, you know, this was just a really bummer accident that happened to this kid. The ACLU was just like, yeah, we bail. Like every organization that was like defending this family bailed, but the family still like they just filed like $100 million wrongful death lawsuit. Like it's just, and it goes to show that it doesn't really matter about the individual. It matters about how sensational the story will be. So it'll piss everybody off. And then and the journalists who do this have no consequences for the people on the ground that have to deal with people who get driven insane by these stories, where they feel like they're getting no justice. And a lot of times they're not, but the cases they choose to elevate are not the stories to elevate. And so like again, the guy that got Fernando Castillo, that was a great story. The NRA should have ran with that fucking story. A lawful gun owner that had a CCW who was allowed to have a gun in his car got gunned down by a cop even after he told the cop that he had the gun in the car. And so that was a good story, but they didn't go with that one. They went with Michael Brown, and like it's just these stories that just were not good. And but it's so by design. Again, I think just to make us as divided as possible so we don't literally or metaphorically form a human union.
Yeah.
So are there any comments that are good?
There was, I forget now. There was one further back up, but it was like, I think it's somewhere in the middle. So I don't know if we'll find it.
Okay.
I'm worried for the outcome, you know?
Yeah, he might not have known fentanyl was mixed in, but even then, it's like, so I think I've talked about it before. I used to do drugs and whatever, like a lot, and I would mix heroin and cocaine, and when it's like heroin's a massive downer, like,
Yeah.
and I would like inject it. Heroin's a big downer, and then cocaine's a big upper, and your heart doesn't know
Yeah.
what to do. Like, it almost can
Yeah.
like reset it, which is what killed Chris Farley. I mean, it killed John Belushi. Like,
Yeah.
Speedballs, which is what he was basically on, is a really easy way to stop your heart. Very
Yeah.
easy. And again, I encourage you to watch the full body cam footage if you're so inclined, and you'll see what you'll see.
Yeah.
And I think that most people that still have strong opinions about this and are the ones that just they either don't know it exists or they are unwilling to watch it. So you just have to take my word for it. But like you know me so well enough to know that like if something's extreme, I get obsessed with it, and then I have to know
Yep.
like every angle. And this was one of those stories where it was just like, oh boy.
Yeah.
So strap in for that. And we'll have a very unhappy "told you so" when that happens.
Speaking of told you so.
yeah. So
Were you about to say that exact thing?
that's exactly what I was about to say, but I like that you did it. So, do you remember that? Do you guys remember that cute little coup attempt that was going down in Bolivia? That cute little adorable coup attempt.
The sweet little, yeah.
Like just a little coup as a treat. That Elon Musk was saying that like we should coup this and whatever, and everyone was like, why is Elon Musk trying to get involved in a coup? And then I said, it's because they have the largest reserve of lithium of any country that exists. Well, on the America's continent, right? Africa's
Yeah.
got plenty of that shit too, but China's
We already exploit the hell out of them.
Oh yeah, well
We're looking for something a little closer to home.
exactly. And so here's this article. Here, let me move the chat thing. Boop. Okay, here's this guy. Boom.
The UK supported the coup in Bolivia to gain access to its white gold. After a coup in the South American country of Bolivia in November 2019, democratically elected President Evo Morales was forced to flee. Foreign Office documents obtained by Declassified UK show Britain saw the new military-backed regime, which killed 18 protesters, as an opportunity to open up Bolivia's lithium deposits to UK firms. Lithium, known as white gold, is a key metal used in batteries and increasingly important to the world car industry.
Huh.
Interesting. Britain's Foreign Office appears to have paid Oxford-based company to optimize exploitation of Bolivia's lithium deposits the month after Morales fled the country. UK embassy acted as a strategic partner to coup regime and organized international mining event in Bolivia 4 months after democracy. Sorry, I'm having acid reflux over how right you were about this, Jordan.
Oh well, yeah, because you just hate to admit it when I'm right.
After the democracy was overthrown, UK firm founded by British Army veteran was now in line to offer its services to mining companies, Foreign Office noted after the event. The UK embassy provided data for the now discredited international report, which was used to justify the 2019 coup. The UK embassy brought cybersecurity company with close links to the CIA to Bolivia in March 2019, 8 months before the military takeover.
And I love that
Those
this
are
is
all the
trying
big
to
bullet
this is
points.
trying to like blame it on the UK, but it's like, oh, our government agency that has involvement in literally everything, the CIA,
yes, their tentacles,
including making this George Floyd thing a giant fucking
yeah.
mess.
I think all those bullet points are just like the important parts about this.
Yeah.
But
Anyway, I mean that kind of gets the point across, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So like, yeah. So I mean, we've been new, obviously.
Obviously, we've
yeah.
been new, yeah.
And so it's just one of those things. It's so comical because it's people, how much like drum beating like idiots were doing about like about Venezuela. Same thing. It's like, look at these empty shelves and blah 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 blah. And it's like, wherever like whenever our entire intelligence community and like our government is talking about us needing to help another country, it means military intervention to overthrow the leader with somebody that will agree with us to take whatever we want. I mean,
yes,
that is always the fucking case.
Yeah,
always, and it has been for over a century. So yeah, so and Greg says it's very coopsy, very cutesy, very coopsy coo. Yeah, I know about Chile, but again, like, it doesn't really matter how much they have. It's like more so that we were trying to install somebody that would be cooperative, and Chile's next. I mean, we'll definitely we'll get in there. We most certainly will.
Yeah, we will.
And to Perry too, it's like it doesn't. The second that coup attempt didn't work, and they installed like who they wanted, Tesla's stock dropped like insane amounts, and like so did like the price of like lithium futures in general. I mean, it was like so obvious that this was an attempt to take lithium. In Australia, we can't invade them or anything.
No way. Spiders the size of
They
children.
most certainly do.
Yeah, they already have a defensive core in giant-sized spiders.
Yeah, that's their front lines. It's little giant spiders with M16s.
Camel spiders, one M16 in each pair of arms. 4.
Yeah. But yeah, so it's yeah. I think the crux of all this is I don't care about your life story.
Yeah. No advice this week, you guys. You're on your own.
Yeah.
We don't have any advice panels to offer this week.
The mommy blogger thing made me not care about anyone else's life other than mine. And Sean's a little bit.
I don't want to hear your life fucking story, bitch.
Yes. Yeah. I don't want to hear it. I don't care. I don't care. Because that like not caring about people's like life story is like, I think pure honesty. It's like people like we've said it before, but think about I had this post I put on Nextdoor about like why people put up no poop or pee signs or whatever.
Yeah.
And then like, because I was just curious. I'm like, it just seems to make the problem worse. Like for like no poop or pee from dogs. It makes like I just see those lawns covered in dog shit because like people sort of don't like to be told don't do something. I mean that's human nature. And then someone in the comments on the Nextdoor post they say how can you think about something like this and propose this question when literally thousands of people are dying? And I'm like, you don't care. You don't care. You're trying to broadcast that you're a good person,
right.
But it's so insincere. It's so fake. Everyone is just a fucking actor now, and I don't care about their life story.
Exactly. That's a beautiful way to end it, I think.
I think so too. All right, leave us a like.
A comment, subscribe. Hit us up on patreon.com/inthefruitbasket.
I think it's just the fruit basket.
The fruit basket.
Or just might be just fruit basket. Actually,
it's all linked in the comments
down
below.
Yeah.
So hit us up there if you would like to.
Yes.
We're here every Wednesday Pacific time at 5 p.m. now. It's our new time.
5 p.m. Sorry, Bran. I know it's throwing everybody off. I actually scheduled this for the wrong time because even I forgot.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I just had to like delete it and start over again.
I didn't even notice.
But yep, we will see you next Wednesday at 5 o'clock.
Bye, ladies.
Goodbye.